Hi there, and welcome to episode 3 of Procurement Answers. In episode 3 of Procurement Answers, we're going to follow on from the question that we answered in episode 2. So episode 2 was, what is procurement? Episode 3 is, what is the procurement process? So when you look at the procurement process, you can really split it down into a number of different activities that kind of fall on a continuum. So from start to end, I brought it down to 7 different process steps. So the first process step that procurement is involved in is understanding the needs of the business. What is it the business wants to buy? Once you've understand what the business wants, then the second stage in the process is to build a strategy around how you best buy that product or service. That strategy, it can play on what's going on in the marketplace, what are specific long-term needs of your company, really adding everything together to say, based on our knowledge of the marketplace, of the product, and of what our company needs are, this is what we'd like to achieve from a strategy in going and buying this product or service. Once you've set your strategy, it's time to begin executing it. So phase 3 is sourcing and contracting. So sourcing and contracting is going out and finding the right supplier, contracting with that supplier to make sure that it's at a price that's competitive, that provides value, and also a contract which minimizes the risk, but also ensures that the behaviors are aligned between both yourself and your supplier. With a contract in place, the fourth stage is launch. So you need to launch that product or service into the business. You need to, in a manufacturing environment, launch can be new product implementation. So making sure that the product does what it's supposed to do. In a non-manufacturing environment, then it can be making sure that you roll out the use of the service that you're buying to the business to maximize the chances that the business is going to comply with that contract. The fifth stage in the procurement process is performance and supplier relationship management. So those are a couple of different things actually. When you think about performance management, it's making sure that you get what you pay for, essentially. That the supplier is performing to the minimum levels in your contract, and hopefully beyond that. From a relationship management, it's making sure that you have a relationship with your most key and strategic suppliers so that A, you can call on them if you need to do things that may be above and beyond the call of duty. But also so that you become a buyer of choice. So a good supplier will have many customers, and you really want to do everything you can to make sure that you're their top customer, which helps you both in price negotiations, but also when there may be difficulties in getting supply of a product or service, for example. You want to be the most favored buyer. The next step is risk management and risk mitigation. So that can cover anything from making sure that you're sourcing suppliers that have strong financials, or having a plan in place, for example, if your supplier is somebody who you really want to work with who doesn't have the best financials, having a plan so that you can mitigate in case there's something that goes wrong. But supplier risk is far more than just financials, and that'll be something to go into in another episode. But needless to say, that's a real key role of procurement today. Finally, there is ongoing purchasing. So this is purchase requisition to the purchase order process, sometimes known as purchase to pay or procure to pay. So this really is a process of you have your contract in place, you have a relationship with the supplier, you are ready to actually buy the products and services from a transactional basis. So place the order. The procurement process here takes it from when a requisition has been raised by the business, so the business wants to buy something, all the way to a supplier getting paid. And that is called the procure to pay process. Each one of these steps will be the subject of a future episode on Procurement Answers, but that should give a good overview into the 7 steps of the procurement process. And just to reiterate them again, first is to understand the needs of the business. 2 is to set a buying strategy. Thirdly, you then need to go and source and contract with your chosen supplier. Then you need to launch. Post-launch, you then need to manage both the performance and the relationship that you have with your supplier, and also the risk associated with that supplier. And finally, and this is more overarching across the continuum, is you need to facilitate the purchase. And that is by placing requisitions all the way through to an order being placed and the order being paid, so the supplier gets their money. Okay, well that's all for the procurement process, and I will see you again on another episode of Procurement Answers.